Hey everybody, this is George Brasher with Shakedown of Thunder Sports, and you're about to watch the two Irish brothers. Go Irish.
Tyree. Here's Tyree with the lane. Tyree! Whoa! Can he get there? Tyree at the 30, 20, 10, touchdown, Notre Dame! Woo! 98! Big ones!
What's going on, everyone? I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And together we are the two Irish brothers of the Two Irish Brothers Show. And first off, you guys know the drill. I got to say it every time. Hit that subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner, like or dislike the video, and make sure you check out Irv Smith's travel package for the Notre Dame Navy matchup in Ireland this coming August. I can't wait. Now, first off, Ben, how are you doing after that Dolphins Bills game today?
Good. Without Tua, I was really nervous, and we were like this close to getting that victory. So not too shabby in my opinion. I hate losing, but it could have been worse than it was. So
I think things are
too much.
I think things are on the rise for the Dolphins, though. They played pretty good being down to Skylar Thompson as their quarterback.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, he's better than Teddy Bridgewater, who was our second string. So really, it should be Tua and then Skylar. But that's
I gotcha.
So anyway,
yeah, they had a nice showing. But getting down to business for this video. Now, I had seen this on another user's video that they just did a couple weeks ago, but I read the articles for myself. And Ben, I know I passed them on to you. And this is something that really intrigued me. And I thought it would be a good idea to discuss it here on a video. But with a lot of big changes coming to college football in the next few years, I mean, obviously, we have all the schools that are moving to new conferences. We have the college football playoff expanding to 12 teams from 4. And just, swooping changes happening in quite a short amount of time,
Yeah.
But these articles that I read talking about this were about swooping changes coming to the college football bowl season. And, I'm not going to sit here and break down the whole article, but the changes that the college football committee is looking to make when it comes to bowl games. Number one, bumping up the required record to 7-5 instead of 6-6. Number two, getting rid of conference affiliations with all these different bowl games. So that way you'd have the basically they would all be at-large versus at-large bowl games. And just for the record, people, we're talking about outside of the NY6. We're talking about all the other bowl games that follow. The third criteria, well, I wouldn't say criteria, but NIL, what's incentives for players? Yeah, incentives for players to play in these bowl games. And then I also read something about, getting more TV partners. Okay, whatever. But one thing that I read that was quite intriguing is possibly eliminating some of these postseason bowl games. And that's what Ben and I are here to cover in this video. We're not here to talk about or debate all of what should happen or what should not happen. But really, if the last part there happens and they eliminate bowl games, because I heard rumors they were looking to eliminate possibly 10 bowl games. That's not a fact, but just rumors. So what Ben and I are doing for this video is we each have made a list. Mine is right here, and I'm using the official notebook of the potential Two Irish Brothers movie down the road. I'd still love that to happen if it ever could, but I can't speak for you, Ben, but I would love to see that happen. Could you see the two of us in a movie, folks? I mean, I don't know if you'd call that a comedy, a drama, or a horror film.
I don't know.
Ben, do you have an opinion on that? You're thinking horror, aren't you?
Yeah.
Why did you have to say that? I don't picture myself in a horror movie, at least not as the bad guy, as the killer. But anyway, so getting back to business. Ben and I have each made a list of the bowl games that we each think should stay and the ones that should go. And this does not include the NY6. Those bowls obviously stay by default.
Those are safe. Those are automatically safe. They're not moving.
Yes. No, of course not. You'd have to put both of us in a straitjacket if we thought any of those 6 bowls should go. So we're talking strictly about the ones outside of the NY6, all the minor bowl games and so on. So we both have our lists. And Ben, would you like to take the honors of reading your list first of which games you think should go and which ones should stay?
Yeah, I can do that. That's easy.
Yes, ladies first, of course.
Gotcha. That's funny. So there are some bowl games that are just, in my opinion, repetitive, like name wise and all that. So it's like, really, what are we doing here? So one that I think automatically stays, that is actually a fairly more recent bowl game, believe it or not, is the Alamo Bowl. Alamo Bowl started in 1993, so not that far off from now. Because, I mean, if you want to get really technical, the Rose Bowl, if it puts it in perspective, the first game of the Rose Bowl was played in 1902. And then it became an annual game in 1916. So there you go. But yeah, so in my reasoning with the Alamo Bowl, and then I will go through my list, but this is like one of the big ones I wanted to hit on, is the history that the name has in our country.
Oh, of course.
The Alamo was a very pivotal moment and event in American history, and I think that bowl game should stay. So there you go. There are others that you'll be like, really? You take that one away, but you're keeping the others? More of repetitiveness, not the fact that it's the name, not the fact that any of that. It's just the repetitive nature of the beast, if you will. So the ones that I would say keep, obviously, the Sun Bowl, the Gator Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, the Liberty Bowl, Independence Bowl, and the Holiday Bowl. Kind of like the NY6, they stay automatically along with the Alamo Bowl. Now, ones that I think should just be cut like pretty much immediately is the Lending Tree Bowl. Goodbye. The New Orleans Bowl. Goodbye. We have the Sugar Bowl for that reason. The Duke's Mayo Bowl. Goodbye. The Armed Forces Bowl and the Military Bowl are one and the same. So I say keep one and get rid of the other, whichever it may be. The Military Bowl is technically the newer of the two, so I went with keeping the Armed Forces Bowl and got rid of the Military Bowl. The Pinstripe Bowl, goodbye. Bahamas Bowl, goodbye. Boca Raton Bowl, goodbye. Quick Lane Bowl, goodbye for 2 reasons. A, the name, and B, it's in the north where it's really, really cold. And yeah, it's played indoors at Ford Field, but still. The Frisco Bowl, goodbye. Arizona Bowl, goodbye. We already have the Sun Bowl, which I know the Sun Bowl is not technically played in Arizona. I know that. It's played in El Paso, but one and the same. Arizona Bowl, goodbye. The Pinstripe Bowl, if I didn't say it, gone. And then same with the Fenway Bowl. Both places are cold. Baseball stadiums are being used for this. I don't like that. No, thank you. The LA Bowl that's sponsored by Jimmy Kimmel, goodbye. We have the Rose Bowl for that reason. We have a couple other bowl games that are played in Southern California. No, thank you. The Gasparilla Bowl, goodbye. And I think that pretty much does it. And I would keep the Music City Bowl, and I know it kind of falls into like that, a little bit of the cold climate, but I think like the history that Nashville has and the whole like country music theme is pretty neat. So I kept that one. And then of course, obviously the Idaho Potato Bowl, I think that's actually really cool with our like nation's history and stuff. So I kept that. But pretty much everything else, goodbye.
All right. All right, I'm checking something out here real quick on my list. I'm not making any changes. I there was something I wanted to mark off here. Oh, there it is. See, I'm making marks of the ones that I like desperately need to stay. Like just put in an emphasis on it. So that's interesting, Ben. I got to say, this might be the first time that I'm more generous than I ever have been. So
and I will say this, and this is something we were talking about off camera. Okay, if it puts things in perspective, okay, there are 352, soon to be 357, because there are currently 5 teams going from Division II to Division I in men's college basketball. There are 357, I will say, since those 5 are currently in the works. 357 that are currently in Division I basketball. 68 teams make it into the tournament. And I also understand that there is the NIT, so we'll say like 120 make it. Let's just say, give or take that number. There's 132 teams currently in Division I football. So, I mean, if you're going by numbers and stuff, there shouldn't be. I don't even know how many bowl games there is technically.
41. 41 with
41,
the NY6.
And then if you do times 2 is 82. So there's 82 teams out of 132 that are making it into bowl games. That's insane. That's ridiculous. So anyway, that's my thought process. And maybe people will disagree, maybe they agree. I don't know, but that's my thought process on it.
Well, it's okay, Ben, because my what you call it, rules are actually kind of different from yours in a way. So, and you'll see that with my list.
Well, and I mean, obviously in the article that was stated, a 6-6 record gets you into a bowl game. Sorry, that shouldn't get you into a bowl game. That's, a 500, record. No thanks. 7-5 at the very worst, and then up from there.
Yeah, because with all the teams that have been 5-7, as we've seen in the last decade or so, I mean, come on, who wants to see a 5-7 team in a bowl game? I mean, it's ridiculous. Right. I mean, back in the day when there were only 12 bowl games, most of the teams that played in those games had winning records, like really good winning records.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is better than 7-5, better than 8-4, so on and so forth. So so with my list and my criteria, that's what that I was trying to think of earlier. My criteria, Ben, is a little bit different from yours, but we're still, for the most part, we're on the same page with this. So for starters, here are the games that I would for sure keep. And I got a little star here by the ones that definitely need to stay without question. So those games are the Citrus Bowl, because that's been around for 80 plus years, just about.
Yeah. And that's why I did what I did. Yeah, I get it.
Originally started as being called the Tangerine Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the Citrus Bowl. Next one, the one that Notre Dame just played in, the Gator Bowl. The third one after that, the Holiday Bowl, which that one has seen a lot of great matchups over the years. I forget when it was started, but it's been around for quite a while.
Holiday Bowl started in 78.
Okay, so it's been around for quite a while. Needs to stay. The Liberty Bowl, that's been around for a while too. Has to stay. Sun Bowl as well. It maybe has lost some of its steam, but it's like the others. It's been there for like 70 or 80 years, give or take.
Yeah, the Sun Bowl started in 1935. So there you go.
Okay, and then last and certainly not least of the ones that have the strong emphasis on it, the Independence Bowl, without question.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
A long time bowl game that's been around that, I wouldn't say has lost some steam, but or anything like that, but it's well known. So now, as far as the other bowl games that I would keep the Music City Bowl, the Las Vegas Bowl, and then I would also keep. Now this is different, Ben. I would keep the Fenway Bowl and the Pinstripe Bowl just because. And my reasoning for that is there's been so many historic games played in like the old Yankee Stadium, and I think there were some other ones played in like Philadelphia, and so on and so forth. You get the point.
Yeah.
But then anyway, I would also keep where was I at here? Yeah, Fenway Bowl, Pinstripe. I would also keep the Texas Bowl, and that's fitting because there's a lot of great talent that comes out of the state of Texas. As you started off your list, Alamo Bowl, absolute keep. Then I actually would keep both of both the Military Bowl and the Armed Forces Bowl, just because it's for our men and women in uniform, and I don't see the point. I don't see that hurting too much. I would also keep the New Mexico Bowl. I would also keep the Arizona Bowl. And these last couple of bowl games, these last 4 on the list, I would also keep the Myrtle Beach Bowl, just because it's in the Carolinas and there's plenty of great talent that comes out of the Carolinas as well. The Hawaii Bowl, I was kind of on the fence with that one, but it's a tropical paradise. It's a big tourist attraction. And not just that. I just come to think of it, there's been a lot of Hawaiians and Samoans who have made their names felt in the football world. Had a lot of success on the next level as well. I would also keep the Birmingham Bowl, and then, like you said, I would keep the Potato Bowl, as long as they don't just call it the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Like maybe say, and this goes back to my whole name thing, the Potato Bowl, sponsored by famous Idaho potatoes. Now, the ones that I would definitely like to see go, well, I shouldn't say definitely, but I wouldn't mind seeing them go.
Right.
The First Responder Bowl, the LA Bowl, the Quick Lane Bowl, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, the ReliaQuest Bowl, the Cure Bowl, the Gasparilla Bowl, the Lending Tree Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And I just, for the record, I think it's disgusting when those coaches get mayo poured on them. Yuck. Yuck. The Boca Raton Bowl, the how do you say this? The Camellia Bowl.
Yeah, the Camellia Bowl. Yeah,
yeah. The Bahamas Bowl, the New Orleans Bowl, and I went with the same reason that you went. You have the Sugar Bowl for that,
right?
And now this one, the Cheez-It Bowl, this last one on the list, the Cheez-It Bowl. You could go either way with that. Now, I know that was when we won the Camping World Bowl, that's what the bowl was called then. This has strictly been a bowl game that's been sponsor only. Now, if they actually gave this one its own name, like I've always talked about over the past 3 years, I'd be fine with it. And also, I think that'd be a great opportunity to incorporate a former name in this. Like maybe it could be the Cheez-It Tangerine Bowl. Bring that name back. That'd be a great opportunity to do that, or to do that, because I think it's ridiculous that you have Cheez-It being mentioned twice in 2 of these bowl games. The Cheez-It Bowl, and then they already sponsor the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they decide to give this bowl its own name, like Tangerine or the Pineapple, like I've been going on for quite a while now, then I'd be fine with keeping it. But for now, I got to put it on the go list. So for me, that's 21 minor bowl games you keep and 14 you cut.
I dig it.
So what's your thoughts on that?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Like, and I'm talking specifically like my criteria with the reasons for keeping the 2 military themed bowls and the baseball park games.
Well, and if you're going by numbers, if you want to go by numbers, it'd be what, 41 or 42 teams.
Yeah,
that make it, as opposed to 80. So it cuts it in half. So yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's how it, because we're old enough to remember. And maybe some people that are watching are not old enough to remember, but I would say very few are now. When we were kids, there was the video game NCAA football that was the road to the Rose Bowl. Like, your ultimate goal in college football was to get to the Rose Bowl, because that is where you wanted to be, because that was the national championship. Like, there was no, like, the Big Ten plays the Pac-12 in the Rose Bowl. There was none of that back then. It was the 2 best teams in college football played in the Rose Bowl, period.
I got to correct you on that, Ben. That wasn't the case when that video game. Yeah, I'm for real. When that video game came out, of course, this was during the BCS era, of course. But what they were doing back then was all they had were the at that time 4 major bowl games: the Rose, Sugar, Fiesta, and Orange. They didn't add in the Cotton and the Peach yet. They took those out for whatever reason when they started the BCS system. So until they created a separate 5th game, a separate national championship game, they just rotated between those 4 major bowl games as the championship.
So that was the year that it was the road to the Rose Bowl. I got
you. Yes. So I wasn't trying to be a jerk and
No. I like that. I that skipped my mind. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what they were doing at that time. Is each year it was
and that is okay too. I think that all those are historic bowl games, so it should be one of those, and it shouldn't just be, the way it is or the way it's becoming in some of these games. So, yeah, I like your list. I like it a lot.
Yeah, we had separate criteria, but you know what? I think that offers good perspective for all the reasons. I mean, obviously,
I didn't even go as far as to say each individual bowl game with what criteria would go for it, and maybe that's something for a different video with the ones that we kept. Something that we would like to see, but I had specific reasons and specific, not teams, but specific criteria for certain ones.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, and I can see it from your point of view as well. I mean, yeah, I can see why you would leave the 2 baseball park games off, and why you would want to have both the military themed bowl games go, because you're right, they are one and the same. I mean, they're both the same idea: armed forces, military. I mean,
right.
it makes sense.
It's different names for the same thing.
but it's safe to say all the ones that we had on the bowls that need to go. I mean, most of these are just really just to promote the sponsor.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm big on that thing, man. I hate sponsor name only.
Yeah.
Let's make this about the teams themselves, not just the sponsor. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good perspective from both of our lists, and all of you out there watching, give us your input on this as well. We'd love to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah.
So on that note, Ben, is there anything else you'd like to say or add?
I got nothing.
Me neither. So on that note, everyone, be on the lookout for another Fighting Irish Power Hour on Thursday with myself and Ryan. If there's any announcements or any changes, I will announce it. Yeah, we're going to keep sticking with the videos in this offseason, even though there may not be much going on. But hey, USFL and the XFL, that starts next month.
Yep.
Go Battlehawks.
Go Battlehawks.
Yeah, damn right. Football doesn't stop anymore. I love it. So, excuse me. With that, everyone, I'm ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And as we always say, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish.